Have you ever wondered what really happened to the fallen angels? The truth is more surprising than you think. In this video, we'll reveal millennia-old secrets about celestial beings who defied God Himself. Get ready for a fascinating journey through the heavenly and infernal realms, where powerful angels fight epic battles that shape the destiny of humanity. What has God done with these cosmic rebels? The answer will shake your beliefs and change your perception of the spiritual universe forever. Don't miss this true story that has been hidden for millennia. Watch to the end and find out why this knowledge is crucial for you today. Since the dawn of creation, angels have played a key role in the cosmic narrative that intertwines the divine and the earthly. Mentioned 108 times in the Old Testament, these heavenly beings are not mere allegorical figures, but real and powerful entities that shape the course of human history. Their presence, often invisible to mortal eyes, left indelible marks on the lives of iconic figures such as Abraham, Jacob, and Moses. Imagine, for a moment, beings of incomprehensible light and power, capable of moving mountains with a simple gesture and crossing the barriers of time and space. These are the angels, invincible warriors in the spiritual battles that take place beyond the veil of physical reality. Their strength and intelligence far surpass the capabilities of demonic powers, making them the protectors par excellence of God's people. Since the dawn of creation, angels have occupied a prominent place in the divine narrative, weaving a celestial tapestry that stretches throughout human history. These ethereal beings, mentioned 108 times in the Old Testament, are not mere decorative figures in the heavens, but active and powerful agents in God's plan. Their presence, although often invisible to mortal eyes, has tangible and profound impacts on the physical world. Imagine, for a moment, the patriarch Abraham raising his eyes to the starry sky, receiving the promise of descendants as numerous as the stars. At that crucial moment, angels were present, silent witnesses to a pact that would change the course of history. Or think of Jacob, wrestling with a mysterious being until dawn, an experience that transformed him from a deceiver into Israel, the Prince of God. And how can we forget Moses, in front of the burning bush, receiving his divine mission with angels as heavenly intermediaries? These heavenly beings are not mere fantasies or allegories. They are real creatures, endowed with supernatural intelligence and strength. Their existence transcends our earthly understanding, but their effects are undeniable. They are the invisible warriors in the spiritual battles that take place beyond the veil of physical reality. Their strength is not just metaphorical. It is a real power that overcomes the demonic forces that oppose the divine plan. Imagine angelic armies, led by the mighty Archangel Michael, engaged in a cosmic war in the heavens. This is not a science fiction fantasy, but a reality vividly described in the book of Revelation. Michael, the Prince of Angels, leads his hosts against Satan and his rebellious followers. The result? A crushing defeat for the forces of evil, who are cast down to earth like stars falling from the firmament. But not all angels are equal. Just as in the earthly hierarchy, there is a heavenly order, each category with its own characteristics and functions. The ordinary angels, those who often remain nameless in the sacred pages, are the messengers and faithful servants, carrying out divine orders with diligence and precision. They are like the cogs in a cosmic clock, keeping the universe in harmony with the Creator's will. Above them, we find the majestic cherubim. These are not the chubby, childish cherubs of Renaissance paintings. No, the real cherubim are beings of unimaginable power. It was they who, wielding flaming swords, guarded the gates of Eden after the fall of Adam and Eve. Their presence in the tabernacle and later in Solomon's temple symbolized divine protection and the promise of recovered blessings. Moving further up the celestial hierarchy, we come to the seraphim, the fiery ones. These beings of pure fire are the eternal worshippers, incessantly singing, "Holy, holy, holy," before God's throne. Their appearance to Isaiah was so striking that the prophet felt shattered, aware of his impurity in the face of such holiness. The seraphim are a living reminder of God's absolute transcendence and majesty. No less impressive are the living creatures described in the book of Revelation. Similar to the seraphim in their constant worship, these enigmatic beings also play a role in the execution of divine judgment. They are the heralds of the apocalypse, announcing the events that will mark the end of time and the inauguration of a new era. At the top of this celestial hierarchy, we find the Archangel Michael. His name, which means "who is like God," is a battle cry against arrogance and rebellion. Michael is not just a warrior, he is the protector of God's people. In the book of Daniel, we see Michael fighting against the Prince of Persia, a spiritual entity that opposed God's plans for Israel. This is not an abstract battle, but a real conflict in the spiritual realm, with direct consequences in the physical world. Michael's struggle is not limited to the heavenly realm. In the Epistle of Jude, we find a surprising scene: Michael disputing the body of Moses with Satan himself. This mysterious incident reveals the continuity of spiritual warfare, even after the death of God's servants. Michael, in his wisdom and power, does not confront Satan directly, but invokes the authority of the Lord, demonstrating that even the most powerful of angels recognizes a higher authority. Next to Michael, we find Gabriel, the divine messenger par excellence. If Michael is God's sword, Gabriel is his voice. It was Gabriel who appeared to Daniel, revealing prophecies that still intrigue scholars and believers today. Centuries later, it was the same Gabriel who announced the birth of John the Baptist to Zechariah, and then the coming of the Messiah to Mary. Gabriel is the link between the Old and New Testaments, the herald who connects ancient prophecies to their fulfillment in Jesus Christ. Gabriel's appearance to Mary is a pivotal moment in salvation history. Imagine the scene: a young virgin in Nazareth, confronted by a being of indescribable light and power. Gabriel's words are not mere information. They are the inauguration of a new era in human history. "Hail, full of grace," he says, announcing not just the birth of a baby, but the incarnation of God himself. This is the power of angelic words. They don't just describe reality, they shape and transform it. But not all angels have remained faithful to their heavenly vocation. The most tragic and impactful story is that of Lucifer, the light bearer. Created as the most beautiful and powerful of the angels, Lucifer succumbed to the sin of pride. His fall was not a mere stumble, but a cosmic rebellion against the Creator himself. "I will ascend into heaven," he declared in his heart. "Above the stars of God, I will exalt my throne. I will be like the Most High." This arrogance cost Lucifer his heavenly position. Thrown from the heavens like lightning, he became Satan, the adversary. His beauty turned into corruption, his light into darkness. He now operates on earth as the Prince of this world, a title that Jesus himself recognized. Satan is not a myth or a personification of evil. He is a real being, a fallen angel whose influence permeates the world. Satan's names in the Bible are a testimony to his corrupted nature: the tempter, the accuser, the father of lies. Each title reveals an aspect of his strategy to oppose God's plan and corrupt humanity. He is the dragon of the apocalypse, the ancient serpent of Eden, always seeking to devour and destroy. But Lucifer's fall was not an isolated event. He took a third of the heavenly hosts with him. These fallen angels, now known as demons, form an army of darkness, actively opposing the work of God and the salvation of humanity. Their existence explains many of the conflicts and evils we see in the world as they operate behind the scenes, influencing events and people for their own evil purposes. However, it is crucial to understand that, despite their power and influence, Satan and his followers are not equal to God. They are creatures, limited, and ultimately destined for defeat. The Book of Job gives us a glimpse of this reality. Satan can only act within the limits allowed by God. He is powerful, yes, but not omnipotent. Cunning, but not omniscient. Present in many places, but not omnipresent. In addition to the more well-known categories of angels, the Bible presents us with intriguing groups such as the saints and the watchers, mentioned especially in the Book of Daniel. These angelic beings seem to have a specific function in the administration of divine decrees. The watchers, in particular, appear in visions to deliver crucial messages, as in Nebuchadnezzar's prophetic dream. Imagine these watchers, celestial beings whose eyes never close, constantly observing the affairs of men. They are the guardians of divine order, ensuring that God's purposes are fulfilled in human history. When Nebuchadnezzar dreams of a tree being cut down, it is a watcher who descends from heaven to execute judgment. This scene reminds us that, behind the seemingly chaotic events of history, there is a heavenly order working to fulfill God's eternal purposes. The fundamental purpose of angels, in all their categories and functions, is to serve God and carry out His will. They are eternal worshipers, invincible warriors, and infallible messengers. Their existence constantly reminds us that our reality is more than what we can see or touch. There is a vibrant and active spiritual realm, continually interacting with our physical world. Angels actively participate in heavenly worship. The Book of Revelation gives us glimpses of this eternal worship, with thousands upon thousands of angels surrounding God's throne, singing unceasing praise. This worship is not a secondary or occasional activity. It is the very core of angelic existence. They exist to reflect and proclaim God's glory. In spiritual warfare, angels are formidable combatants. They do not fight with physical weapons, but with spiritual power that transcends our understanding. A single angel in the biblical narrative is capable of defeating entire armies. Remember the angel who, in a single night, defeated 185 Assyrian soldiers threatening Jerusalem. This is not a fairy tale. It is a historical account of angelic intervention in human affairs. Angels also play a crucial role in protecting the faithful. Psalm 90 assures us that God will give His angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. This is not an abstract or metaphorical protection, but a real and tangible guardianship. How many times have accidents been avoided, dangers averted, and lives saved by the invisible but very real intervention of guardian angels? The interaction between angels and humans in the Bible is fascinating and multifaceted. Sometimes the angels appear in all their heavenly glory, causing awe and reverence. At other times, they manifest themselves as ordinary men, almost indistinguishable from mortals. The letter to the Hebrews warns us, "Do not fail to show hospitality to strangers, for some have taken in angels without knowing it." This passage suggests that angelic encounters may be more common than we imagine, often occurring without our even realizing it. Angels also play a crucial role in divine revelation. Throughout the Bible, we see angels delivering messages from God, explaining prophetic visions, and even participating in the giving of the law on Mount Sinai. The Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Galatians, mentions that the law was promulgated through angels. This statement reminds us that even the most sacred and significant moments in the history of salvation counted on the active participation of angelic beings. The relationship between angels and human prayer is another fascinating aspect. In the book of Daniel, we see that the prophet's prayers trigger a heavenly response, with angels being sent to bring answers and revelations. This suggests that our prayers are not mere words thrown into the void, but real communications that mobilize heavenly forces. In the New Testament, the role of angels takes on new dimensions with the coming of Jesus Christ. Angels announce his birth, minister to him in the wilderness of temptation, strengthen him in Gethsemane, and proclaim his resurrection. Jesus himself often talks about angels, saying that they rejoice when a sinner repents and that they will be present at the final judgment. The relationship between Christ and the angels is particularly significant. The letter to the Hebrews devotes considerable attention to demonstrating Christ's superiority over angels. This doesn't diminish the importance of the angels, but elevates our understanding of Jesus' majesty and divinity. He is described as superior to the angels, the Son whom the angels worship. Angels also play a crucial role in the eschatological events described in Revelation. They are the executors of the divine judgments, pouring out the bowls of God's wrath on the earth. At the same time, they are messengers of hope, announcing God's final victory and the establishment of his eternal kingdom. It is important to note that, despite their power and importance, angels should never be objects of worship. The Apostle John, when trying to worship an angel in Revelation, is immediately rebuked. "Don't do that. I am a servant like you, and like your brothers who remain faithful to the testimony of Jesus. Worship God." This passage clearly establishes that angels, however glorious they may be, are God's servants, just like us. The existence of angels constantly reminds us of the vastness and complexity of the spiritual universe. They are a testimony to the creativity and power of God, who created such diverse and wonderful beings. At the same time, the reality of fallen angels alerts us to the dangers of pride and rebellion against God. As we reach the end of this fascinating journey through the angelic realm, we realize that the veil between the visible and the invisible is thinner than we imagine. The story of the angels, from their glorious creation to the fall of some, reveals much about the nature of the spiritual universe and our own place in it. We reflect on the majesty of the cherubim guarding Eden, the fiery devotion of the seraphim before the throne of God, and the imposing strength of the archangel Michael in cosmic battles. We contemplate the message of hope brought by Gabriel and the tragic fall of Lucifer, who warns us about the dangers of pride and rebellion. But this story doesn't end here. In fact, it continues to unfold around us, invisible to the eye, but profoundly impacting on our lives. The angels continue to fulfill their divine purpose, protecting, guiding, and participating in God's great plan for humanity. And you, dear viewer, what role do you play in this cosmic narrative? How do the revelations about angels and fallen angels shape your understanding of the spiritual world? Has your perspective on everyday challenges changed when you consider the reality of angelic beings? I invite you to reflect on these questions and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your unique insight may illuminate aspects of this story that we haven't yet explored, enriching our collective understanding. If this video has expanded your horizons or touched your heart in any way, please consider subscribing to the channel. Together, we can continue to explore the mysteries of the spiritual universe, uncovering the truths hidden in the pages of history and sacred scripture. Remember, just as the angels fulfill their divine purpose, each of us has a unique role to play in this great cosmic drama. May the lessons learned today inspire us to live with purpose, awareness, and reverence for the invisible that surrounds us. Until the next video, where we will continue our journey through the visible and invisible realms. Be at peace and stay alert to the wonders that surround us. Because who knows? An angel may be closer than you think.